Hello, my name is Leonida, and I will be presenting the usage of Ethnobotany for reproductive health in Mesoamerica. So, there has been a decreased amount of dependency on plant usage over the years. However, there are still various indigenous communities in Mesoamerica that use herbal remedies. Even though these communities use such remedies, there is still a limited knowledge regarding the usage of plants with reproductive purposes such as conception, pregnancy, birth, contraception, menstruation, and postpartum. Therefore, one has to investigate the pathways of how information is valued within the local indigenous communities in Mesoamerica to understand how the group's ideas and reproduction of reproductive physiology are influenced by the selection of certain plants. Also, to explore the local ethnobotanical knowledge to further understand how different closed groups of people respond in the effects of globalization and change have on their health needs. Priva lapulicea is used to prevent miscarriages because it is believed that the white hairs from the plant sticks to the clothes of individuals, so it will use the same property in order for the fetus to stick to the uterus. Essentially, this kind of plant is boiled along with a piece of leather cut and placed into tea so a pregnant woman can drink it and ensure that her pregnancy does not fail. On the other hand, there are women that do not want a child and they want to become infertile, so they will use plants such as Hamilia erecta, the bombox plant, the Citista plants, and with these three species of plants, a woman can make them into teas and drink them for several days while also avoiding irritants such as chile and coffee. Additionally, if the woman is already pregnant, she could still use these three species of plants and it would act as a aborticipient. In the indigenous communities of Oaxaca, Mexico, there are remedies used to stop the blood flow that can cause by hemorrhage and menstrual hemorrhaging, such as chewing raw, the Gallia mexicanum, the Mimosa albida, or the Persea americana. There are also other herbals used to strengthen the womb in order to retain the menstrual blood, such as bachuris, the bricula, Dondonea, Stephanie, and either of these plant species can be consumed raw or heated. Other plants such as the Barbaricia, Stephanie, Lilipia, and Persea americana, or the Selgalia can be used in order to clean the blood if in case it carries any impurities. Not every single indigenous community in Mesoamerica can use the same plant remedies. Since blood is warm, it needs a plant that will restrain the heavy bleeding, so they can use leaves of the Hamilia erecta, the bark of the acharas, or the root of the sonolongum in order to cut such hemorrhages. So because of the woman's age, their body must start to become fragile and prone to come across more difficulties within their reproductive life due to multiple births that could have weakened the body's equilibrium. So two diseases can arise from this. It could be isechual and nexaclin. Isechual is an organ that is positioned in the lower region of the torso and it's believed to have emitted from it. Fundamentally, this illness is known as the caída de matriz or baja de matriz or caída de vejiga. So here in the picture you see how the normal uterus would look like and then a fallen or a prolapsed uterus look like. So treatment for Isahuea can use the Menzilia, often called as mala mujer, and they use the leaves because the plant sticks to the skin, so it is believed that it will help the uterus stay in its proper place. This plant is often used in the form of an infusion or a tea. Piper, umbel, aracoye, and Oseum basileum Thalachia are two herbals that can also be used by squatting over the steaming infusion for the steam to aid in drying a woman's uterus and remain in its place. The other illness, nexaclantlit, is a condition that develops when a woman does not have the proper rest after giving birth. So people often refer to this disease as a wasting disease. So salunum is a herbal that women use by crushing and mixing it with water and bathe several times a day until they no longer feel weak or lack hunger. However, this plant species grows out of reach places, so if a woman is in desperate need of this treatment, their relatives will go out and look for the species. It might seem that there's an abundant amount of information regarding the usage of plants in Mesoamerica. However, this is just a small percentage because there has been a loss of knowledge from one generation to the other. Before, older women had a deeper understanding of which plants to use for reproductive health. For instance, giving birth is a traditional shared experience, so women are able to discover what plants they can use before, during, and after a pregnancy. This tends to occur because knowledge is gained from when one participates in such activities and they're able to share their experience with other people or with other women. However, now indigenous women are more willing to share information with female foreigners rather than males from even their own communities, because in their perspective, one does not have to feel shy when talking about reproductive health with another female. Women believe that this topic is a concern for females only, especially when there are males that want to control the female's reproduction. For instance, in Chichanaca community of Mexico, there are tales told by males that women used to use bark of the tree in teas to obtain contraceptive effect. The existence of such tree angered the males in the community, which led to the destruction of it. Now, when they ask about herbal remedies that can prevent a pregnancy or induce an abortion, females tend to utter that they don't know any techniques used to limit fertility. Because of this, it has led women to withhold information regarding reproductive health from men because they want to remain control of their own reproductivity. Along with that, the introduction of biomedicine into indigenous communities is now affecting how women engage with their health. Midwives and laywomen are no longer sharing their herbal remedies with one another, nor are taking new apprentices to transfer their knowledge because of the arrival of such clinics. Previously, herbs were the only use, but nowadays people can buy medication for pharmacies. In the past, women can contain a lot of knowledge in regards to plants, but it's now been forgotten since it's simpler to swallow or inject medication. With the transition to modern medicine, there has been attempts to provide reproductive health amenities to Mesoamerican communities. However, with such efforts and challenges are prone to arise, such as language barriers. Even though such services exist, they're not always reachable to indigenous populations. For instance, an indigenous people from Guatemala who only speaks local Mayan may not be able to properly communicate with those health practitioners that solely speak Spanish. Contraceptives may be accessible, but the service may not be able to be provided in Mayan. So some indigenous communities avoid modern healthcare facilities and prefer traditional alternatives such as plant remedies. Since there are constant challenges that arise from these biomedical services, it is crucial for the indigenous woman to be familiar with the local traditions of plant remedies for reproductive health. So, what is the future of ethnobotany in Mesoamerica? Discussing reproductive health is still a taboo topic in many households. Females are now taught at a young age, and within indigenous communities, such knowledge has to come through experience. There are now programs such as Abriendo Oportunidades, where young Mayan girls are able to learn social resources and increase their support networks, increase knowledge and skills, including the area of adolescent, sexual, and reproductive health. If such conversations are able to be starting at an early age, older indigenous women may be more inclined to teach the new generation about plants used for their health, which can also lead to decreasing the current limitation of herbal practices for reproductive health possessed by indigenous people. Ultimately, the usage of ethnobotany for reproductive health in Mesoamerica is still vital. Not only does this help the local tradition of one's ancestors alive by practicing the collection of plants, but it also aids women in topics such as conception, pregnancy, birth, contraception, menstruation, postpartum, and overall reproductive purposes. And this is my bibliography, so all the sources I used for this presentation, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.